Let's talk about electric car charging and completing long journeys in an electric car. Today, me and my son just been to Wembley for a football match. We won't talk about the result, didn't go very well. So started off this morning in York, where I am living, and we set off at around 8 AM. At the moment, I can charge in York for free. There's a special incentive on at the moment, so that's good. Full tank of electricity in my BMW i3s. It's a lovely little thing, and that'll get me around 170 miles on a full charge on typical kind of 65 mile an hour motorway or dual carriageway driving, as long as you slipstream a few lorries when you get the opportunity and mix it with a bit of overtaking. Stopped off around just south of Peterborough, top up the battery. We were there for about 25 minutes at a Shell recharge charger, and it was great. There was a little picnic area next to the charging area. Oh, there's the police are sat there. Sorry, sidetracked. Police are sat there trying to catch someone, or hoping someone will come speeding past. Where was I? So yeah, Shell recharge, really decent unit. It worked perfectly. Started the charge with my contactless debit card and ended the charge with the contactless debit card as well. We had about 25 minutes, which got me back up to about 75% battery, which was perfect, really. It got me all the way down to London. Me and Arthur all the way down to London. Arthur's my son, by the way. So we got all the way down to London and parked up at Wembley when we'd made our way through the traffic. Bit of a bonus, the car park that I'd prepaid for had free electric car charge points in there, so they were only 3 kilowatt hour ones, so pretty slow. But what it meant is after the match, we'd been parked up for about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours, and the battery had been topped back up again to 75%. Set off home, had about 110 miles worth of range, thinking, great, that means that I can get to about Leicester before I need to charge up again. And then the plan was to stop at Leicester. I'd already identified an Instavolt I wanted to use in that kind of region, and the plan was to stop there for maybe half an hour, do a rapid charge, which would get me enough battery to basically get back up north. That's when the problem happened. Obviously, everyone has these stories. Everyone who runs an electric car has this happen to them. And got to the Instavolt, and there were two other people there charging, a Nissan Leaf and a Jaguar I-Pace. Jaguar I-Pace driver absolutely nowhere to be seen, as usual. I-Pace drivers are the worst. Closely followed by Nissan Leaf drivers, and guess what the second car was plugged into the Instavolt? It was a Nissan Leaf. In my experience, Nissan Leaf drivers don't have a clue what they're doing. Now, there's probably some who dispel that myth and who go against that, but the vast majority that I've dealt with in the last few years, they don't really know what they're doing. They sit there at 97, 98%, still plugged into a rapid charger while the battery's cell balancing, absolutely adamant they aren't going anywhere till that battery hits 100% again, which is utterly pointless. They're basically sitting there wasting half an hour for essentially maybe 2 or 3 miles worth of range. It's not worth waiting for. Top tip, when you get to 95, 96%, unplug and bugger off. Let someone else use the charger. So yeah, Leicester was I could have sat around and waited for half an hour for one of these other cars to finish, but I figured I'd just move on to the next one, which was just up the road, about 10 miles up the road at Leicester Services, and it was the what do we call it now? Grid Serve Used to be known as eco-tricity or eco-atrocity, as most electric car users will call them. And I checked on ZapMap before I went up there, and it was 10 miles away. ZapMap said the charger had only been used 5 minutes ago and everything was working perfectly. So I thought, great, fantastic, I will head straight up there and get plugged into that one before continuing my journey home. Drove up there, and at this point, by the way, I had about maybe 25 miles worth of electricity left, so I still had, you know, a bit of capacity there for any emergencies, or, you know, if the first charge wasn't working and I could go to the second one. So I wasn't massively worried at this point. Drove up to Leicester Services, got there, 2 CCS rapid chargers with Chademo connectors as well, both covered with black bags and out of order notices plastered all over them. So yeah, thanks GridServe, really absolutely killing it in the electric car charging market there. So at this point, bearing in mind I've got my 6-year-old son next to me, getting quite late at night, and he's pretty tired. He's not causing any bother, which is good, but I just want to get home. It's been a long day. We've been going since 7 o'clock in the morning, and by this point it's 9 p.m. at night. So just want to get home. So get back on my various apps on the phone and find another Instavolt, about a further 10 miles up the, in fact, no, 11 miles up the road at, oh God, I can't remember what it was called now, but it was north of Leicester anyway. So get in the car, back in the car, head up there to the other Instavolt charge, which was also at a McDonald's, and got there with about, I think, 12 miles to spare on the range. So in retrospect, all good, no problem at all. Although by this point it's approaching 10 p.m. and I'm going to be plugged in for at least half an hour to get enough charge to get me all the way back up north again. So I've plugged in for about 28 minutes I think it was. That got me about 110 miles worth of range, so I think that's enough. I've only got to do 95 miles to get Arthur home anyway. Arthur lives in Halifax, by the way. I live in York, but he lives in Halifax. So I thought I'll drop Arthur off, and then after that I'll worry about getting myself home. So that's all fine. Got Arthur back home, safe and sound. He's none the wiser, he slept most at way home. And now I've driven back over towards Leeds, and I'm at the Sturton Park and Ride facility, which is really lovely. If you ever come to Leeds and you fancy a day out shopping or whatever, park here, it's great. There's some buses go from there, and as far as I'm aware, the parking's totally free, and if you've got an EV, you can charge up for note as well. There's some rapids, which are obviously good for people on longer journeys, but there's absolutely loads of 7 kilowatt fast chargers as well, so you can get plugged into them. I've often seen cars when I've come and charged here. I've often seen cars parked up here for the day, just charging away. And obviously, if you're plugged in for 7 or 8 hours while you're out at work, or 4 or 5 hours while you're doing some shopping in Leeds, you're going to get a full tank of juice in most electric cars. I often see Teslas around here as well, even though ironically there is a Tesla supercharger about a mile down the road, but no one ever uses it because these are free and you have to pay for a Tesla supercharger. So yeah, I often see lots of Tesla drivers parked up around here when I've been charging here at various times of the day and night occasionally, getting some free electricity. Can't blame them, to be honest with you, but it does make me laugh. Bear in mind, my day-to-day job is selling cars. When people, customers say, oh, I want a Tesla because I don't really trust any other electric car because I need that supercharger network, I won't use any other charger network, and then lo and behold, the reality is day-to-day use, I'd say maybe 50 or 60% of them don't actually use Tesla superchargers. They'll use whatever's cheapest, even though it's slower. So now I'm just plugged in, and I'm just what I'm going to do is get maybe 40 or 50 miles worth of electricity. That'll be more than enough to get me back to York. It's only about 25, 26 miles away, but bearing in mind, I don't want to leave my other half with no electricity at all, because she tends to drive the BMW most days, and I use a different car. But today I used this to go to London because I just thought it's a 400-mile round trip, and because I'm able to charge in York for free, and I was able to charge in London for free. I paid for one charge on the way down there, one charge on the way back home, and I'm charging up for free now at Sturton. This is totally free, which is fab. So the whole day has cost me in electricity, I think, about £28 to do the whole 400-mile, or in fact 450-mile round trip by the time I'm done. So, you know, if you drive an electric vehicle, there's some sacrifices, some slight lifestyle amendments. Believe me, I'd much rather be at home in bed right now than topping up the battery for 10-15 minutes. But I save an absolute fortune doing longer journeys in this thing. If I'd have driven my other car, which is a petrol, pretty efficient petrol car, it's a performance car, but it is very efficient. I can generally get about 40 to gallon on a motorway run, but 450-mile round trip in that would have cost me probably in the region of £100, and I've just done the whole thing in this i3s for less than a third of that, and that means I've got more money to spend on tickets for football or things for my kids, or just anything. Present for my other half if she's watching this. I'm going to stop waffling now, because I think I've run out of things to say. But this is the first video I've ever posted up on this channel, so if you've liked it, if you've enjoyed listening to me rambling on, give me a big thumbs up and a like and a subscribe, and click a bell icon and whatever else it is on YouTube, because apparently those things matter. And if I get enough views and likes, I might make more stuff. Don't know what yet, don't have a clue, but this car's going to be replaced by a Polestar 2 long-range dual motor in a couple of months, so no doubt I'll have lots to talk about there. I can also do a summary about what's it really like to live with an i3s. So, if you want to put something in the comments, any questions you've got, anything you want me to answer about this car or the Polestar or any other electric car for that matter, because I'm very lucky as part of my job that I get to drive lots of different cars on quite a regular basis. So if there's any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care.